What's up, everybody? Ivan here. Thanks for tuning in again. Just driving back home from the Home Depot. I've lost track of how many times I've been there. Talking to multiple Milwaukee reps back and forth. Driving down to the Milwaukee Service Center. That's local to me. No help from them either. When I get back to the shop, we'll talk some more. But in the meantime, I'll leave you with a clip from Steven from the 2019 Milwaukee MPS event. And he is going to be presenting the new at the time Milwaukee M18 Fuel compact router. And when I get back, we'll talk about how that clip is relevant to this video.
Those current solutions having unreliable depth adjustments. They'd encounter too much slop. It would move, the bit depth would move when they didn't want it to. And we packed 3 features into this tool that will prevent that. First thing you're gonna know.
We call BS!
Alright, what's going on, everybody? Back here at the CPR wood shop. Good to have you all here. My name is Ivan, EMT for over a decade. I was involved with a certain Fortune 500 company in regards to environmental health and safety in relation to OSHA safety and injury prevention. So here today we're going to go ahead and talk about the Milwaukee Fuel M18 compact router, more specifically on why it sucks. More specifically again in regards to the compact fixed base, and we'll talk about some of the features here. I'm not going to sit here and explain to you how to use it. There are a ton of other videos for that. I'm just going to go ahead and talk about the reasons why I don't think it's very good when compared to the Ryobi router here. A lot of people are going to say I'm crazy and whatnot, but this is actually the 3rd Milwaukee compact router I go through. I'm going to go ahead and talk about some of the issues I ran into and why this router here is, in the long run, better. So I've been doing woodworking here in my shop for about 2 years now, and I've been using all Ryobi tools simply because they're just cheaper and they get the job done. However, I was finally convinced to make the jump and upgrade into the Milwaukee platform. So thankfully for Black Friday, I was able to grab that $5.99 deal where I got a free impact driver, drill driver, hammer drill, circular saw, and a nice work light. And free, I got this router as well as the Milwaukee vacuum. Essentially, I upgraded to this platform just for the router. I went on YouTube and I was looking up tons and tons of videos on this router, and you know, I came up with the decision that this was the router to buy, just because of all the different tests and whatnot I saw on YouTube. So I essentially jumped into this platform just for the router, and every other tool I got, no issues, flawless, way better than the Ryobi line of tools. However, this guy here, and I'll show you shortly what I'm talking about, but just want to talk about a few of the features that I personally don't like. I'm sure you've seen it in other videos where this screw here attaches the vacuum dust collector attachment. It is pretty loose here, so leaves a nice little gap there. I want to say maybe 1/8 of an inch or so. So I have, even though I have the vacuum here, I have had fine wood dust come out of this gap, and even though I am wearing my eye protection, that still gets in my eyes, and it is a little bit of a bother. Nobody wants wood dust in their eyes. And this guy also comes with a wider base, which I do have here somewhere, and it's pretty nice because it'll accept your router bushings, right? So this is, I believe, the 6-inch base, and it fits on there quite nicely. Sorry, camera died on me. So yeah, so this is the 5 3/4 inch sub base that comes with the router, and it is kind of cool because it does accept the bushing for the templates and whatnot. However, I currently use the Milescraft Sign Pro to route Wooden Sign's been using it for about I don't know, about a year now, and it's pretty nice. I'll make a video on that later. However, so that Mousecraft Sign Pro comes with this even wider base. That's a 6-inch base, and unfortunately, fortunately, this is pretty cool because it comes with these guides that you just snap in, and that's pretty awesome. But that being said, this base will not fit on the Ryobi router by itself. Sorry, the Milwaukee router by itself. So what I had to do was actually put the wide base on here, the Milwaukee base, and then I had to essentially, you know, MacGyver it and fit this base over this base, and it was just a nightmare. Whereas you can see on the Ryobi router, it fits perfectly. I mean, barely fits, but it fits nonetheless. And this guy here, pretty solid when routing letters, give me no issues whatsoever. It does have some issues with the power, but honestly, just take it nice and slow, and this thing performs flawlessly. So, besides the vacuum with the dust shroud, or whatever you want to call it, this screw here, so knob, when you have the wide base on here, it gives you a clearance of about a 1/4 inch there. So actually, why don't we just go ahead and slap it on here so I can show you a little better.
Whoops. Just gotta line it up. Make sure the bit is nice and centered. That's good. Nice and tight, not too tight. Alright,
So, as a former OSHA safety specialist, I like to always preach safety first. So that being said, we have about a 1/4 inch gap here, and if you want to install or uninstall this dust collector, see, you have the gloves on, and it's a real big hassle to get that screw undone. And for a router that costs $200, or 4 times the Ryobi one, come on, I mean, obviously this is a feature that the Ryobi router doesn't have, but you know, it would be nice to maybe have put the screw here in the center, so it would put more pressure back there and whatnot. But again, this little gap here, as small as it is, you still get fine dust, wood dust in your eyes, around your safety goggles and whatnot. So it's kind of a pretty big ball drop there on Milwaukee's part, but what are you gonna do? I guess beggars can't be choosers, huh? So I know I'm hating on the dust collector attachment here, but I also really love it. It's a kind of a love-hate relationship. This thing does make a huge difference in vacuuming up all of their wood dust. And you know, I've always said a clean work environment is a safe work environment. But all that aside, that is not the main issue I have with this router. The biggest issue here is going to be this latch and then the micro adjustment knob. So from that video you saw earlier of Steven talking about this router, how people complain that other routers have too much slop, other routers, you know, they adjust themselves while you're routing and whatnot. I never had that issue with this guy here, believe it or not. For a $50 router costs a 1/4 of what this guy costs, this should not be an issue. This is pretty smooth on, you know, at first glance you say, man, this is pretty damn smooth compared to this guy here. However, this latch here does not hold it very well, and when you actually start routing, you get this going on. So as you saw from that video, as soon as I plunged the router into the wood surface and start pushing into routing my little letters, this thing just starts moving like crazy. And I wasn't able to catch it on video, but I was just routing away and not paying attention to the micro adjustment dial because I'm paying attention to the workpiece. And next thing I know, the pit goes through the wood and actually into my table that I was using at the time, and that was pretty damn frustrating. So I went back to the Home Depot, to the Milwaukee to the Home Depot. The rep sent me to the Milwaukee Service Center. The Milwaukee Service Center essentially said it's better just go back to the Home Depot and return that router, which I did. So I went back, and the Milwaukee rep was very nice. Once I told him that, showed him the video, he said, oh yeah, that's definitely a manufacturer error. Gave me a new router on the spot, no problem. Okay, so then I went back home, did the same problem. So again, the Milwaukee I was told maybe just tighten this nut here, right, and maybe that'll fix my problem. But so I did, and I tightened it a little bit. You know, I went quarter turn by quarter turn, and needless to say, I tried that, and then this happened. And here you can see that nice crack that goes all the way through on that latch of the router's base. So there I go back to the Home Depot, talk to the Milwaukee rep again, show him the router, he sees it, and he was actually pretty surprised himself. He says he's never seen that, whatnot. So at this point, I'm just pretty upset, and that was the second router. So then I went to the issue of getting this third router, and now this third router does the exact same thing, as you can see here. If you pay close attention, I mean, it's hard to miss, but you can see that the micro adjustment knob is clearly moving when it should not be. So what's it gonna be, Milwaukee? What's it gonna be, everyone else? What do you guys think? Do you think if I go back to the Home Depot, the Milwaukee rep there will have some sort of solution for me? Because at this point it's a little ridiculous. Again, $200 router, $50 router. Obviously a better router if it weren't for this one issue. But looks like the Ryobi one is coming out on top right now, regardless of the fact that it's has less power, has a smaller collet, and I could go on about the comparison of why the Milwaukee one is better. But until this knob is fixed, the Ryobi router will be the best one. Well, all right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, listening to me rant. Stand by for a video on here, the plunge base. Excited to do that. Let's see if me doubling down ends up being worth it. And stand by for a video on my, I think it's my 6th trip to the Home Depot so far. And we'll see if compact router number 4 is the winner. Thanks guys, bye, have a good day.